Welcome to This Explainer. Gather around, because today we are charting a course down America's darkest, most isolated highways. I'm talking about those desolate stretches where your cell service just completely dies, and the absolute only light for miles is the faint glow of your own dashboard. We're going to examine a phenomenon that completely defies logic, physics, and honestly, common sense. We're looking at the terrifying, entirely unexplained events that are actively haunting the open roads of the United States.
So, let me ask you, have you ever driven alone at night? I really want you to put yourself right in the driver's seat for a second. Imagine you're out there on some remote American interstate, and it's, say, 3 a.m. The road is completely, utterly empty. Your headlights are only piercing maybe a few dozen yards into this absolute pitch-black void right in front of you. The radio is just crackling with dead air, and looking out at that endless stretch of asphalt, you get the sinking feeling that you are literally the only person left in the entire world.
But here's the really creepy part. Sometimes you're not alone. Across America, thousands of drivers report bizarre encounters on these lonely stretches every single year. And yeah, sure, while a lot of them can definitely be chalked up to, highway hypnosis, some of these cases absolutely cannot. We aren't just talking about your standard ghost stories around a campfire here. We are talking about things that simply shouldn't exist. People vanishing into thin air, and roads that lead somewhere entirely wrong. Okay, let's dive into this and analyze 7 of the most impossible, terrifying highway stories out there.
Which brings us to Section 1, Distortions of Space and Time. Let's look at what happens when modern conveniences like GPS and dashboard clocks collide with physics-defying horror.
Back in 2019, there was this long-haul truck driver named Eric traveling through a dead quiet stretch of Nevada. It's nearly 2 a.m. He's easily 50 miles from the absolute nearest town. Out of nowhere, on the shoulder, his high beams catch a woman in a long white dress. No shoes, no phone, no car in sight. So being a good guy, he pulls his massive rig over to help. But the second his boots hit the pavement, she is gone. And here's the analytical anomaly for you. The desert there was completely flat. There were no trees, no rocks, literally nowhere to hide in the moonlight. He searches around for a solid 10 minutes, but when he finally climbs back into his cab, his dashboard clock had advanced by 45 minutes. The real horror here isn't just the vanishing figure on the shoulder, it's that massive block of inexplicably missing time.
And that brings us to what we're calling the Kansas Loop. Imagine Marcus, a college student just driving home through these endless rural Kansas cornfields. His GPS shows 20 minutes left to his destination. Normal, right? Well, suddenly, this rundown gas station appears out of the dark. He drives past it. Then, he passes it again and again. 4 separate times. Every single detail was a nightmarish carbon copy. The exact same rusting sign, the exact same parked pickup truck, the exact same flickering halogen light. His GPS is insisting he's making forward progress at 60 miles an hour, but his reality was literally looping. He calls his dad in an absolute panic. The call completely drops, and the very next thing Marcus knows, he wakes up in his car at sunrise, parked on a completely different interstate, nearly 80 miles away. No explanation.
And this phenomenon somehow escalated even further in our next case out in Oregon. A woman named Jennifer was driving through this incredibly blinding Pacific Northwest rainstorm, and she accidentally takes the wrong exit. Suddenly, all the traffic vanishes. No houses, just complete, heavy, dead silence beneath the pouring rain. Then this chilling repetition kicks in. Every single green mile marker she passes displays the exact same number, 17, again and again and again. When she finally manages to safely turn her car around and rejoin her original route, she glances at her dashboard clock. Nearly 3 hours had passed, but she swears up and down she was driving on that exit for less than 30 minutes.
And this brilliantly illustrates the staggering picture that data's painting for us. Just look at this. We've got 3 completely different environments, Nevada, Kansas, and Oregon. We have 3 very different phenomena, a vanishing figure, a looping physical environment, and looping mile markers. Yet every single one of them shares the exact same terrifying anomaly, a profound, completely inexplicable distortion of time and space. Whether it's missing time or unexplainable teleportation, you simply can't deny the pattern happening across these states.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. Section 2, Phantoms on the Shoulder. Let's look at the terrifying reality of figures that simply shouldn't exist.
Let's analyze the Texas highway figure. Over a bizarre 6-month period, drivers on this one isolated county road kept reporting the exact same thing. A tall man in dark clothing standing dead center on the yellow lines. Drivers would see him totally panic, slam their brakes, tires squealing, only for the man to vanish instantly. But what elevates this from just, a trick of the headlights to a concrete anomaly is the raw data. Local police received dozens of panicked 911 calls about this guy. And eventually, a local patrol officer actually witnessed it himself. He reported that the man stood totally motionless before literally dissolving directly in front of his squad car's grill. So this wasn't just a one-off hallucination. It was a repeated, documented anomaly confirmed by law enforcement.
We see this wild collision of the impossible with modern life again in Colorado. Imagine this. A midnight rideshare driver picks up a guy on a lonely mountain pass. The man gets in the back, never speaks a single word, and just rides in complete silence for 40 minutes. When they finally arrive, the driver glances in his rearview mirror, and the back seat is totally empty. The stark contrast here is just chilling to me. In the mundane app reality, the driver's phone showed a 40-minute trip was successfully completed. But when he freaked out and contacted customer support, their servers showed absolutely zero record of that ride even existing that night. Think about that. A physical passenger who vanished, leaving behind zero digital footprint.
This brings us to our final theme, Section 3, Warnings and Phantom Pursuers. These are the encounters where the phenomena actively interacts with or even hunts the driver.
Consider this one. A retired couple driving through the desolate Arizona desert late at night. Out of the pure, hissing static of their radio, this incredibly calm, clear voice suddenly emerged. It just said, "Turn around." Well, the husband naturally assumed it was just some CB radio interference, so he kept his foot on the gas. But then, it spoke again. "Turn around. You're not supposed to be here." Thoroughly spooked at this point, they frantically start mashing buttons, changing stations, but the voice? It literally followed them across every single AM and FM frequency until it issued one final bone-chilling message. Last warning.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that I classified this specific phenomenon as a phantom intervention. Why? Because at the exact moment that voice gave its final radio warning, the couple rounded a blind curve and found the entire interstate totally blocked by a massive, fresh rock slide. If they had been driving even 5 miles an hour faster, they would have been instantly crushed. Police later confirmed the rock slide had happened just minutes prior. Whatever spoke to them through that radio static, it literally saved their lives.
But as you might guess, not all active encounters are helpful. Take this 2023 story. A man driving a winding mountain highway gets aggressively tailgated by a black sedan. For an entire hour, no matter how fast or how slow this guy drove, the sedan flawlessly matched his speed. Headlights blinding his rear view, never once trying to pass. Absolutely panicking, the driver speeds into a small town, finally checks his mirror, and the sedan was just gone. No side roads, no squeal of tires backing off, nothing. The driver swore to police he was hunted for 60 miles. But when investigators went and actually reviewed the security camera footage from a local gas station at the very edge of town, it showed the driver's car entering the town entirely, completely alone. The black car simply wasn't there.
And that brings us to our conclusion. Section 4, what did you really see? Let's bring this all back to the central mystery here. So when the rubber really meets the road, how on earth do we process these encounters? Well, to be fair, on one hand, we absolutely must weigh the logical explanations. We know highway hypnosis is a well-documented medical reality. We know extreme fatigue can cause incredibly vivid hallucinations. So it's very possible a lot of this could just be chalked up to sheer coincidence, misunderstandings, or tricks of a deeply exhausted mind. But we have to impartially present the alternative reality here too. The possibility that there are actual anomalous zones out there on the open American highway, rips in the fabric of reality where physics just doesn't function the way it's supposed to. Places where people genuinely disappear, where time bends by hours, and where voices literally transmit through dead radio static.
So, the next time you find yourself driving alone at night, gripping the steering wheel, and your headlights catch something unusual lingering on the shoulder, I want you to ask yourself, did you really see it? Or did something see you first? Let us know down in the comments which of these 7 stories disturbed you the absolute most. And whatever you do on your next road trip, don't take the wrong exit at night. Drive safe out there, and thanks for joining me on this explainer.